When reading a novel made for a younger audience, I don't expect to be as interested. However, there are still times I come across a book and come out surprised. Welcome to the pages of yet another fantastical world. Today, we are looking at a middle grade fantasy novel. Impossible Creatures is written by Katherine Rundell. Edited by Ellen Holgate, illustrated by Ashley Mackenzie and Tomislav Tomic. This is Spectra L Tern's spoiler-free review. This book was gifted to me, so I had no knowledge of it beforehand. Knowing it was a middle grade novel, I didn't have very high expectations, which also allowed me to be pleasantly surprised. We follow the quest of two children, Christopher and Mal, along with friends along the way and a baby griffin, and with danger on their heels and questions to be answered. The novel has plenty of light-hearted moments and humor that would be more appreciated by a younger audience. But I still found myself emotionally invested with the story's ability to not shy away from heavier moments. Rundell offers a childlike wonder of a fantastical and colorful world, but treats the reader capable of handling difficult and uncertain moments. It reminds me of The Never-Ending Story and perhaps Narnia, as they also handle similar themes in similar ways. One of the main central points of the novel is the creatures within it, and they definitely help with the world building feeling more alive. Of course, the main focus is on Christopher and Mal, and I really appreciate how they genuinely felt like kids navigating the wonder and tragedy of the quest. One character that became my favorite in the novel was named Nighthand, as I really appreciated and enjoyed the direction Rundell wrote him. The pacing of the novel felt very smooth. I didn't feel like there was any point that I felt like it was dragging too long, or that there was a point I got stuck at. Everything felt like it had a purpose and goal in mind. It's just a really good book at handling the gravity of loss and responsibility and heavy burdens. It allowed you to feel the emotions or the stress of the characters without making you drown in it. Even within those moments in the story, it still gave me moments to cheer, to laugh, and to cry. As I explain this, there is a recording of me drawing a scene from the book that stuck with me, with Christopher and Mal sitting in the sand and talking. It's a bit of a brief time, but it holds a lot of weight. I really like what was written for Mel, as it felt very almost poetic. There was nothing major I found wrong or annoying about the writing. I already knew, since it was a middle grade novel, there would be things that I wouldn't care for much just because I'm not in that age range. But there was nothing that made me cringe or have less of a good time. There were a few small awkward moments or things I felt were brushed off too quickly. I do wish there had been a little bit more time to go into depth with some of the characters, but I also understand some of the pacing choices with that, along with not wanting to make it too complicated or spend too much time on that, with it being a middle grade story. But saying that, it's more about I just enjoyed the story so much, I wanted a little more. So that isn't necessarily a bad thing. As a writer, I'm always looking to improve my writing. So what can I learn from Rundell? I appreciate the way she uses small actions and almost makes it a habit for the characters, but it ends up holding a lot of meaning as you get closer to the end. I started picking up on those subtle details, and it brought a lot of emotion, especially I think when it counted. That's a big theme within why her writing works so well. And readers may or may not even recognize that it's happening. I believe those moments also made the growing friendship between the characters more believable. I also appreciate that she's able to give information about the world without over explaining things. I feel like this is a good fantasy for kids to get into, to get more interested in reading, or might just delight one who's already interested in fantasy. It's still a good book, even for somebody older than that age range, if they're looking for something lighthearted but still with emotional weight. I left this book feeling a mix of happiness, sadness, and great hope. It's one I'd recommend if you're interested in it or if you're looking to give it as a gift. We finished our book, and it's time to close the chapter. Until the next one, cuddle with your griffin.